Well, it's so bright I can't actually see myself in my camera screen, but I get a bit of blossoming behind me that you might be able to see. Um, yeah, I've sort of slept, sort of. But it's a lovely morning, and I'm way too early to go to any of my shops right now. So I'm just trying a little bit of shooting outside, really. Really cold overnight. Car was frosty as, but it was sat in the sun. Fortunately, by the time the sun had come up a bit more, so it's suitably thawed out now, and I'm going to be getting back in it shortly to do a short hop to Mel's Collectables. And I was looking at their Facebook actually, and this could be right in my ballpark, I think, because looks like they've got some Space 1999 stuff in, possibly. So yeah, there's definitely going to be my sort of era stuff in there, and possibly sort of before my era as well. So it'll depend what you're looking for, really, like anything else. But yeah, quite interested to go and see what they've got, and try and start the day off strong, basically. Because the good thing is they're just here, so I can tick one off my list right from the get-go, and then move on to the others. So I'm hoping to be at my next place by sort of lunchtime at the latest, really. So I'll please spend an hour or so here if they open on time, and then I'm off again, basically. So yeah, I just thought I'd check in at the start of the adventure, and yeah, enjoy the view.
Let's start having a look around Mel's Collectables. Not a huge store, but as you're going to see, it is absolutely jam-packed with all sorts of stuff. And I've slowed the video down, of course, so you can actually sort of get a reasonable look at what's here. Hopefully it'll be at about the right speed at the end of the day. Now, a few little bits and bats of railway stuff, not loads of stuff, but this is sort of indicative of the kind of era that Mel is most comfortable with. Because, as he said to me, he's sort of primarily an action man kind of guy, and indeed sort of, earlier than that. So, as you'll see here, we've got sort of Battle of Brittany sort of stuff. It's a real sort of hodgepodge of different things. But, I know some of you are far more familiar with Action Man than I am, and I'm going very slowly here because I may have overdone it on the on the slowdown of the video, but this should give you a good idea of what he actually had in stock at this particular point in time. And he was saying to me, these are sort of, these action men here have got sort of proper cloth clothing. It's none of your sort of plastic tat on them. They're proper uniforms in that sense, designed to last. And clearly many of them have done. But obviously he's got boxes for them here as well, which is impressive. But he's also got them fully togged out. So it's a nice display. We've got sort of random metalware cabinets, which I've just sort of zoomed past for reasons that should be obvious. And then we've got another Action Man Soldier there by Palitoy. And there is my barking dog, which is not helping me record stuff. We've got Bilbo Baggins lurking up there, and some flavour. Got a bit of Lego, but not loads. Some old Technic stuff here and there. But it's properly full to the brim with all sorts of stuff. Just saw a Batman there I didn't see originally. This is classic me going through this sort of video, not having seen stuff originally. Right, the noisy dog is joining me in the recording studio, which isn't a thing, it's just a study. So I'm hoping he might be quiet now and come and sit down with me. That was a hint, come and sit down with me. There we go, okay. So, apologies, just slightly distracted there. So a few sort of planes and so on, Daredevil stunt sets, ancient walkie-talkies, some cards there, some furry things. it's a real mix. It's a real mix. Some comics down the bottom corner here, which I collected a few of, which you'll see in the pickup video. And then we flick over to this sort of more modern stuff, which is, it's just part and parcel of what this shop is. It's partly ancient and partly actually bang up to date, except that it isn't Mel's strong point. So some of the stuff that I was telling him about, he didn't know. So we've got some of the modern sort of DC Icon stuff, and we've got quite a few bits and pieces of Alien Eagle Moss stuff here as well. And I think somebody must have brought this in, but it has the advantage that it stacks well. Mel tells me that he doesn't like gaps. You know, he likes to have a place for everything, and for everything a place. So I think he probably appreciates the fact that the Eagle Moss stuff stacks well. Got some interesting sort of figure lines in there as well. I'll come round to those again. But he's also got you know, things like postcards and vinyl records. You know, and badges here. Just little bits and bats of all sorts of stuff. So there's probably something to, you know, to tickle everyone's fancy here, one way or another. I think it's fair to say. This is his sort of front desk area. So there's some more old Technic in here, some Britain Space in there, old Operation down there. Just noticed that. So it's all sort of fun stuff. I mean, you know, this is where he's kind of he goes both before and sort of accidentally a bit after me. But you can see there, eagles. So you can see why I was interested in coming to Mel's, because I knew that he had eagles in. I just didn't know how many, or if he had any sort of spare elements. But we were discussing, and ironically, he got an Eagle Transporter module in from a chap as I was in the store. But he was saying, you know, they're often worth more than the actual eagles themselves, and that's certainly been the case in my experience as well. Is that the sort of the pods that go in the centre of Space 1999 eagles are worth more than the eagles themselves, because it's, you know, for whatever reason it's rarer to find the pods slightly. But you can see up there he's got sort of NECA stuff behind him there at his sort of till point, and NECA stuff along the top here, and a few Godzilla examples, which I know someone will be interested in. But he doesn't really, I don't think he sets out to sell NECA stuff. It just happens to be the sort of thing that he has in. So we had a load of Fab Ones there. Captain Scarlet, Adventure 2000, Battle Kings, all the sort of usual suspects, you know, from my point of view anyway. Dinky Harrier there, which I think I've got a very battered example of somewhere. Now, those Star Wars ships, I think, are off the front of De Agostini magazines. I've got a TIE Fighter myself that I've had for a little while that's similar. So there you've got the Eagle freighters and transporters, and they're a white pod on a white Eagle, which isn't right. It should be on a blue Eagle, but again, as I say, you know, it's rarer to find the pods than the Eagles in many respects, although the blue ones are, I think, slightly harder to come by. Now, you might notice a gap there, and I did get something from that shelf, and you will see that in the pickup video, he says mysteriously. But lots and lots of Fab Ones there. I do have a Fab One, so I didn't get one of those. There were mainly repro boxes anyway, I think, and even some repainted things there. So I didn't sort of go with any of those. Got a little turtle at the top there. I don't know what era that was. And obviously these were just the sort of the various sort of metal or possibly lead figures that he's got there in that cabinet. I'm desperately trying to cover everything off here, because even in the small stores like this, it's really hard to get everything. And you can see there are some, you know, original Star Wars figures there, and I think I'll come back to those. Corgi Jr.'s carded, unpunched mini Batcopter there, which I did half think about, but I do have one. Some more NECA stuff here. Some of these Predators are funny, because apparently there was sort of, you get cloaked, half cloaked, a little bit cloaked, all that sort of, you know, so sort of, they sell Predators in every way, shape or form to maximise the number of different versions they can issue out. There's Playmates Vorcha class attack cruiser up there as well, from the Star Trek range back in the day. various examples of sort of yesteryear type models here, and sort of more corgis and that sort of thing. That planet gun I'm sure I've seen before. Captain Scarlet, bit of Thunderbirds there as well. More Thunderbirds figures you can shake a stick at. Pokemon, Digimon, Star Warsimon. No, hang on. Yeah, a fair few figures in there. Didn't indulge in any of those. I think I do need a C-3PO though. I did half think about that, but I didn't pull the trigger on that particular occasion. So again, more sort of possibly Britain's-esque figures. I'm not sure. Stands look a little bit like that, but perhaps they're not. I didn't even really closely look at what was in the bottom there. Just more sort of antiquities kind of stuff, than the actual kind of collectible side of it, I guess. Little dinky moon buggy there. These are all the sorts of things you'll find that on stalls in the toy fairs. Before I forget, I believe that Mel has an active eBay shop. So his eBay shop sells stuff different to what's out on display here. But he says he's got at least as much on eBay as he has in the shop itself. So I'll try and find the shop and drop a link into the description as I publish this. Not quite sure why I was hanging around this line quite so long. I was half listening probably to a chap he was negotiating with, because I always find that fascinating. The chap was basically adamant that he wanted X amount, and Mel was equally adamant that he was offering him Y amount and no more. So it wasn't much of a negotiation, because I got the impression that there wasn't much room to play with there from Mel's point of view. So that was quite entertaining. But as I say, he definitely brought one or two sort of dinky bits in from what I could gather, because Mel was chuckling as he took out a transporter pod that we've been discussing earlier. So I think lots more boxes of vinyls, various loose figures down the bottom here. I didn't really have a rifle through those, I must admit, but even these small stores, it's like you've got to allow yourself a decent amount of time. But I did, between looking around and then running to a cash point and coming back again, it was a good couple of hours that I spent altogether, and I was there promptly as he opened. Had a delightful toasted tea cake in the local Tesco, which appeared to be the place to be that morning. So we've got some Pacific Rim figures in there, Lord of the Rings, even sort of He-Man stuff in there as well. There's quite a mixed bag in these. Nightmare Before Christmas, I think those figures are. Some more Predators there. Planet of the Apes. So I think I'm doing reasonably well at this point, but there is more. He's got a Masterverse figure there. Rather battered looking Marvel Legends, I think it is, figure there. One of the What If Iron Mans. Technic set there. And Linkits, which reminds me that I have got a video to do on Linkits, but it keeps not being at the top of my list of things to do, unfortunately. So that hasn't happened yet, so we'll get to it at some point. So this is just behind the front window. So there's a few sort of bits and bats behind it. Good use of space though. It means absolutely nothing is wasted space-wise in this store at all. See a few bits and pieces there. I mean, as I say, it's a real mix of stuff. Again, I'm seeing more stuff there that I didn't notice first time round. It's always annoying, isn't it? Especially because I know that sort of stuff won't be on eBay necessarily either. So he's based in Alfreton, which is just sort of south of the Derbyshire Peak District. It's northwest of Nottingham, if that helps you at all. Some more Aliens Eagle Moss stuff there. There's a Rebel Transport up the top corner there. And more Neckery goodness. There's Kick-Ass there. Deadshot. Deadshot, is that his name? I just noticed the fully cloaked Predator. I must have missed him the first time because he was cloaked. Yeah. So some more carded figures here, obviously fairly sort of modern stuff. So it's quite a confusing store like this, because you wouldn't know going into Tomorrow People. You know what? It's funny. I only thought of the Tomorrow People in the car as I was zipping about the place, but I didn't notice that DVD there. Do you remember? Who remembers the Tomorrow People? Let me know in the comments if you remember the Tomorrow People. And that's the reboot series there. Yeah, there's a watch out there. So even his annuals, none of his annuals include things like Thundercats and Transformers. It's quite funny because he says that's not the sort of thing he's into. He just doesn't cover that era. But that is Mel's Collectables. And I will I'll leave details in the description. Hope you enjoyed that little run around the shop. Cheers for now.
Right, that's the Alfreton leg done. Pretty successful. Got a fair few bits. Got a few the odd bit for someone else, and I now need to make it to Leek. But I've already spent 2 hours in Alfreton, which means I now have about 4 hours left. A good hour and a half of which is driving time. Yeah, may not have planned this through well enough. Anyway, we'll see. All right, so pickups in another episode, I think, and Leek will appear next time. Cheers for now.